And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Franklin Barrett, who writes, "Greetings, everyone. I read a crazy article today about the absolutely total domination that Disney had over the box office this year. Basically, one out of every, wrap your heads around this, guys, this is significant, don't just gloss over this. 1 out of every 3 movie tickets sold this year was for a Disney property movie. Have you guys ever seen anything like this? And do you think we will see anything like it again?" All right, thanks for sending that in, man. And Franklin's not wrong. Look, we've all known that Disney was having a dominant year. We all knew that. That was with all the billion-dollar films they've had, a record that will probably never be touched. You know, their films all being successful, a couple of trips and falls, Dumbo and whatever, but they've had a lot of big success. We knew where they were dominating. We knew they would be number one of the year. But guys, we really have to take a second, because I think we as film fans are guilty of glossing over historic things. And we go, oh yeah, that's cool. And then we move on. I think we need to just take a minute and simmer in this for a second. Let's look at some of these numbers of what Disney has done this year. They set the all-time domestic box office, just domestically, with $3.76 billion. That is an all-time record. They also made on the international box office $7.35 billion. Again, another all-time record. And of course, when you have those two all-time records, you end up with the worldwide box office record of, and hold on to your seats, $11.12 billion at the worldwide box office. Also an all-time record. To further give us a sense of the historic nature of this, let's take a look at the market share here. You would have to combine all the tickets sold by Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers to equal or exceed the amount of box office market share that Disney had. Disney with 33.2% of the tickets sold, that is roughly 1 out of every 3 movie tickets sold this year was to a Disney property. Warner Brothers with 13.7, Universal with 13.4, Sony with 11.9, Lionsgate with 6.8, Paramount at a disappointing year at 5%, 20th Century Fox at 5%, and Other, the infamous Other, at 11%. You would have to combine, Rob, the totals of Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers together to compete with the numbers that we got by Disney. These are historic numbers, Rob. Historic. So I just want to put it to you. Put this in context from us. What is your reaction to this, and how should we be looking at things like this?
Well, I would say buy Disney stock. No, I think that look, there is no
Disney
doubt
stock.
that under Bob Iger's stewardship, there was a definite plan about what Bob Iger saw for Disney's future and what he wanted to do, and he aggressively went out and did that. Now, you cannot deny the reason that Disney is making so much money is because they're successful. They're really good at what they do. They understand their audience. They're providing entertainment. Despite, look, whatever your thoughts are on Star Wars, put those aside. Whether it's Frozen 2, whether it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whether it's Toy Story 4, we are getting, lest we not forget, quality entertainment that is being made by very talented people. Now, there are other questions, I think more nefarious questions, that sort of move outside the realm of movie making in terms of what they're doing, integrating all of their businesses. But again, the market forces, it's time for the other studios to step up their game. You know, Disney's the New England Patriots, but one day they're going to lose Bob Iger and Tom Brady's going away. And we have to see the other
I love
teams,
the analogy. I love the analogy.
The other teams have to step up and step up their game, and they have to stop chasing trends, and they have to stop chasing, let's find the new IP, let's make Bloodshot. You know, no. they need, although that might work, I want to see a Valiant cinematic universe, but they need to step up their game, and they have to start getting serious if they want to compete on the world stage like this. But for the time being, Disney's dominance, it's not like they're twisting our arms. You know, like that old National Lampoon cover that said, that had the dog with somebody holding a gun to the dog's head, and it said, buy this magazine or where we shoot this dog. That's not what Disney's doing. You know, they truly are giving us a spoonful of sugar with every movie they make, and it tastes good going down, John. They're taking Mary Poppins' advice, and they're bringing the world what the world wants, and I think it's good for film goers, but it might have larger, more draconian implications in the long run. We shall see.
Well, speaking of which, I wanted to get another perspective on this, because I believe these are really historic numbers that I think a lot of us are guilty of just glancing over a little bit too quickly. So I wanted to bring in another point of view. So I jumped on and talked with a friend of yours and mine, Mr. Christian Harloff from the Schmodown Entertainment Network, and I wanted to talk to Christian, get his perspective on this. So here, check this out. All right, guys, continuing on this conversation about the incredible year that Disney had, an unprecedented year, we are really pleased and excited to be joined by the chairman of the Schmodown Entertainment Network, SEN, over there on YouTube, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, thanks a lot for being here, man.
Yeah, John, thanks for having me, brother. Looking forward to talking about this.
Well, and it is something to talk about, because I think sometimes as movie fans, we don't appreciate sometimes when we're seeing ridiculous history. Like hey, yeah, Endgame set the opening weekend record. I don't think we appreciate just how momentous that was. And we're looking at Disney right now and the year that they had, again, highlighting these numbers. All-time domestic box office record in 2019, $3.76 billion. Internationally, $7.35 billion, another all-time record, which is, of course, all accumulates in an international worldwide box office record for a year at $11.12 billion. Christian, you and I have been film fans for a very long time. Obviously, we've never seen anything like this. What sort of context do you put this into when you see numbers like this, and how did you react to it?
It's hard not. The first thing I think of is, and I've talked about it many times, I'm in awe of Bob Iger as a businessman.
Right.
And not only for the sheer numbers, it's hard to doubt that a $3.76 billion is just monumental. But you look at the work that's put in over the years of what he has done, the meals that he's had with people to convince George Lucas to sell his company for $4 billion is not an easy task. Acquired Marvel, you acquired, having Pixar to do the Fox deal. And it's very easy and understandable where people could say, oh, my God, look at what Disney's doing. It's just one thing after the next. And they're essentially the Yankees of the studio system. Right. But they're doing business. They're making moves. And this is a particular this shows it all paid off, right? It's crazy. 3.76 bill. I don't think it should take away from. I mean, you look at Warner Brothers alone with the 1.5, and look what they did with. I mean, I think the Joker brought in about $1 billion of that. But that alone is a nice task. But then you look at the $3.7 billion because of all the Lion King doing the billion, Aladdin. The Avengers, I mean, Star Wars is probably going to get there or get at least close to it. I mean, it's insanity how the IPs that they have and how they've been delivering on them.
It's been so dominant that if we take the number of tickets that Disney sold, they're saying that 33% of all the movie tickets sold in 2019 went to Disney-owned properties. You have to combine, and I got to make sure I get the right ones here. You have to combine Warner Brothers, Sony, and I can't remember what the third, not Paramount, but one of the other studios. So 3 studios. You have to combine 3 of the studios to get a number bigger than Disney's. Disney literally this year, everywhere in the world, 1 out of every 3 movie tickets sold went to a Disney movie. Of course, 7 or 8 of their movies made $1 billion. Christian, when you look at that sort of lopsidedness of one year, number one, do you think that's sustainable moving forward for Disney? And number 2, do you think that sort of lopsidedness can be good or bad for the overall movie industry?
Oh, man, I think it's a little to answer your first question, I think no. I don't think they're going to be able to do what they did at least this year sustainable because, look, Marvel's basically starting over again. and you're going to have to get Marvel's still going to have success, but to have the numbers that they had before leading up to this season finale, if you will, with Avengers Endgame, they're going to have to rebuild and get people interested again in this new storyline. Now, I still don't, that doesn't mean that they're going to be failures. I just don't know if they're going to have the same kind of big numbers that they had in the past. Star Wars is over. So at least Star Wars movies for now are over for the foreseeable future, at least for 3-4 years, whatever it is. So they're not going to see that. Pixar will continue to make money. I think Mulan will probably do pretty well. But to have this kind of year that they have with all the releases, now this is like a once, and I wouldn't say once in a lifetime, but it's not going to happen for a little bit until they start building up a lot of movies inside of their IPs. And as far as the second question goes, is it good or bad? I mean, I think it's bad if the other studios don't start putting together materials that can compete, because I think that it is. I think that they need to start, and you get to a place that it's hard, and I understand this. I think it's easy for fans to say about other studios, oh, why don't you, or studios in general, why don't you take a shot on original IPs? First of all, there are original movies being made all over the place, but as far as original big blockbusters, it's hard to do because of the risk involved.
Yeah, look at Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. They tried it, and look how that turned out for them.
It's hard to do because it's hard to you want studios to make that risk, and you want them to take a shot to develop new IP so you could get a new Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars was an original IP that was brand new in 1977. Studios don't work that way anymore, but it's also, and even then it wasn't there was a big risk for them to take it. But if studios will start to develop that and new franchises can be born, or even familiar franchises that look at something like Fast and the Furious, which no one in a million years thought that they would revitalize and get to like number 9 now. But how many more movies does that franchise have left? So there needs to be more movies from other studios and more franchises. I think it's better. And you've always said this too. Competition is good for all movie fans, but you want to make sure that somebody can hold up the fight.
All right, Christian, thanks a lot for your insight on this, man. And listen, in the meantime, if people want to check out the other stuff that you're doing, where can people find you and your work online?
Oh, we got a lot going on right now, man. We got SEN Live every day, 10 a.m., 12 p.m. on the Schmodown Entertainment Network. A lot of new people, a lot of new faces you're going to see on the show, and some old faces going to be back on the show, so please come check that out. And the Movie Trivia Schmodown's my baby. We're in the off-season right now, but you're going to love this. We're doing a full-on like sports draft, managers. It's going full-on esports. It's going to be great.
I've been following that. All right, thanks a lot for being here, man.
Thanks, John.
All right, thanks to Christian Harloff for being here and being a part of that and giving his insight. All right, guys.